Welcome back to my podcast. Today I'm joined by the one and only Bethany Dobson, entrepreneur, online fitness coach, and influencer who has built a 7-figure business, impacting thousands of people across all of her channels online, and is joining me today on the podcast to discuss what it takes to be a high achiever, how to build a successful business, and grow a huge online presence, going through all of the struggles and all of the wins along the way. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Thank you for having me on.
I know. I don't know why I'm looking at the camera, but me and Bethany are. We are also friends as well, aren't we? We've been friends throughout this whole entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, started from the bottom.
Started from the bottom, made it to the top.
Yeah, not yet.
No, well, we're on the way. Do you want to just introduce yourself, what you do, who you are?
Yeah, so I'm Bethany. I am a business owner, own 3 businesses, one of which is an online fitness company. I sell ebooks and I'm an influencer as well. Scaled it from 0 in a university bedroom to now doing over 7 figures a year. And yeah, we're here to chat all about it today.
So just talk to me about your online fitness company first. Just what you do, what you specialise in, because a lot of my audience also love you and they always talk to me about you and love your content. And I think my perception of you is the biggest thing that you do is not only help people lose weight, but maintain it.
Yeah.
And I think you are amazing at that. And that's why you do so well, because you embody that so well. Just describe to me like what it is that you do help people with.
Our fitness business is doable and we help women especially just become the best versions of themselves. It's not just about losing weight. It's not an 8-week program. It's getting you from where you are now to the absolute best version of yourself, whether that takes 6 months, whether that takes 12 months. It's for the long term. And by the time you finish with us, you are going to be that best top level person that you're wanting to be right now. And
anything is doable.
Anything is doable. That's what we do.
Yeah. You got people to run like marathons who couldn't even fucking get off the sofa, right?
Yeah. We've had women who've lost like over 40 kg, gone from having like life-threatening diabetes to curing it, from never being able to conceive to now like having a family and getting pregnant. Like everything that we've done, everyone's came to us thinking that it's impossible, and now they are doing what they've always dreamed of doing, which is it's such a rewarding job.
Yeah, I love that. How big's your team now?
So we've got 4 coaches, about to hire 2 more. We have got a whole team of 10 people who help us in the business. So yeah.
Wow, that's impressive. Okay, my first question to you is, what would you say obviously you're a very big high achiever, and if we just look at what it takes to be a high achiever, it's like that drive that you just know you are inherently meant for more. You know, like even the level that you're at now, you know there's more. You always know there's more. You're always working hard. You're always just going for it. I would say the word would be relentless. What would you say happened or experiences in childhood that have shaped you into being a high achiever? Like if I was to watch your childhood in a movie, how would I see that, yeah, do you know what, you're going to be a high achiever when you're older, or you are a high achiever?
So I knew from a very young age that I would be doing something big. I just knew it. Yeah. And I've always been this type of person who never takes no as an answer. I will always do what I want to do. And
that's the thing that I love about you.
No one can get in the way of it. Like, that is me to a T. And my mum knows that. My grandma knows that. Like, Aaron knows that definitely.
I know that.
But I think from a young age, so I was a middle child. I'm one of 4. And I've got a huge family. And I've always kind of had to fend for myself. And I think that from a very young age, I've always had to work for what I've got. So when I was younger, my mum and dad split up at a very young age. I think I was 2. And my mum has been through multiple different relationships, failed relationships. I've been through that all with her in my childhood. I've moved probably more than 10 times house. I've always had that change. And I've always been challenged. I've always been uncomfortable from a very young age in different areas, like moving house, like obviously having different people part of my life. And again, from a very young age, I learned that if you want something, you have to work for it. if we go back to sort of when I was younger, obviously my mum had 4 kids. I was middle child. She struggled to obviously have a career in that time, and obviously she didn't always have a man to support her throughout that. I remember certain weeks we actually went like to food banks to get like food, we didn't have much money at all. And I think that taught me that, like, if I want to have a life that I can not worry about them things that my mum had to worry about when I was younger, I'm going to have to work for it, and I'm going to have to do something with myself to get there. And I think my mum's a very big inspiration of mine, because I know deep down, she always says to me, like, what I do now is she dreams of being me. Like her child self dreams of doing what I do, and every milestone that I hit, everything that I do, she always texts me and she's like, I know I would have done that when I was younger if I didn't have like kids so young, and so on and so forth. So I feel like
she's living life through you.
Yeah, I'm living my mom's dream, because I know she's so passionate about what she does, and she's so like me. If she wants something, she'll get it. But she's always learned through different ways, and she's obviously been a little bit unfortunate throughout life. But I had my first job when I was 14. I have worked ever since, and I've always been taught from a young age, and I've learnt from a young age, that you don't get things given to you. Like, you have to work for what you get. So I think that's just been learnt from a very young age, and it's just followed through.
What do you feel like it is about success that you crave the most? So a lot of people who have struggled growing up will crave security, or people who haven't had that freedom will crave freedom, or just, I don't know, safety, or if you've been through a lot of change, maybe you just crave stability. Like, what would you say beyond success that it is that you inherit, that feeling that you crave from as a result of going through that?
So I think this has changed a lot in the past couple of years. To begin with, I feel like I wanted to prove to myself that I could make something of not only myself, but of my family, if that makes sense. And I think that was the driving factor of wanting to be successful. I almost wanted to prove to someone, I don't know who, that I can make a change. Like, it ends with me, like this. And I could do this. But I think after a year or two of knowing, like, I've done that now, I don't need to prove to anyone that I need to do this. Now I just want to see what's possible, because now I've understood that I can do it. I've made the first step, and now I just want to see, right, what is possible? What can I do? Like, the world is your absolute oyster. Nothing is limited.
No.
What can I just do with this? Like, every single thing that you jump through, every hoop that you jump through, it's like, I can do more. And I'm just want to do more.
Yeah, 100%. You've obviously grown from 3,000 followers to collectively across all platforms over 1 million in 18 months. And I always say to people, a lot of people are like, if you blow up on social media, it's just luck and this and that. But I know you, and you're very intentional about everything that you do. And when we spoke, obviously back 2 years ago when we were in that cafe, we were both struggling, we're both, trying to work out how we're going to be successful and whatever, even though we both knew we would be successful. Since that day, you've been so intentional on social media, and I genuinely think you so deserve the success on social media you have, because you work your fucking arse off for it. But people will go, oh, it's just luck and stuff. What do you think has actually made you have that big following online?
So I haven't missed a day. I have now, but in the first couple of years, I didn't miss a day. And what people don't realise about this is, like, I gave up certain parts of my life to do this. I literally gave myself a forfeit, and if I take it back to uni, we were both going through this together. I was in second year of uni, I started my business, and everyone was saying to me, oh, so what job are you applying for?
Ugh,
like,
none.
Are you going to go into that job? Are you going to go into that job? And I hated the idea of that. I did not want to work 9 to 5. I'd worked from 14, and at this point I was 19. I'd worked for someone for 5 years, and I hated it. I hated someone telling me what to do. I hated someone telling me when I could go on holiday. I hated someone telling me that I had to go into work when I wasn't feeling like it. I was done at that point. So I had about a year where I was like, you are going to do everything that you can to get out of this and prove, again, it was proven to other people that I could do it. I know I had Aaron's dad, and if he does ever watch this, like, he'll laugh at this now, but people don't believe in you. And it's not that they don't believe that you can do it. I think just because they've never seen that happen before. They've never seen a 19-year-old do this before. So why would they believe that you could do it?
Yeah.
And I was always getting told, like, oh, so what job are you going to go into? What are you going to apply for? Just in case it doesn't work out. And that
It's projecting though.
got something going in my head. And I was like, I'm going to prove you all wrong. Like, I'm going to do
Yeah.
this. So that started off this year. And I was like, you're going to do it. You're going to set yourself a goal, post every single day for a year, and don't miss a single beat. And I didn't miss anything. I remember I was going to go out for like date nights with Aaron, and I said, like, we're going to have to reschedule the table another hour because I haven't done my post today. Like, nothing got in the way of me. And
I remember when you said you were on holiday once at the beach or something, you had to go back, or
yeah,
something like to post and whatever.
Yeah, family holidays. Like, I stopped us going places because I need to post, and people hate me at the time. Oh, for God's sakes, Bethany, do you really have to do it? Yes, I do.
Yes, I will do it.
That's, no one could get in the way of me. Like, and that obsession in the first year got me to this point.
Yeah, 100%. One of my favourite things about you is that you will do what you want. Like, your boundaries, like, if someone tells you to launch this or do that and it doesn't align with your big vision or your goals, you won't do it. Like, no matter what it brings in, no matter anything, like, what would you say it takes to have that sort of mindset?
I think I'm so aligned with what I do, and I'm not just doing it for the money or just for hitting the short-term numbers. I know that I'm in this now for life, and I know that if it doesn't align with me, my brain doesn't work if I don't align with it.
Of course.
If I don't align with something, I'll put in half of the effort, and I won't want to do it. I'm not motivated to do it. I won't work hard, and that's what keeps me going if I'm working hard. So if something doesn't align with me, I can't move forward with it.
But I think that's what's made you successful in business, because obviously in business, there's so many people telling you, charge this or pay them this or do it this way or do it that way. And obviously you hear so many different ways to do strategy, so many different ways to how to pay people, how to do this. But you've inherently listened to this advice. You've had some advice. But the biggest strength I would say that you have in business, from what I know of you, is that you listen. But if it doesn't feel right for you, no matter if it's the norm of business strategy or whatever, you won't do it. You just won't. And that's my favourite thing about you. So sometimes I go, oh, what would Bethany do in this situation? What would Bethany say in this situation? No. Like, your boundaries are solid. I love it. Is there a moment where you realised in your journey you were playing too small? And what would you say that changed when I don't know if you had that realisation, you might not.
Yeah, so I think the only thing that I can think of when it comes to this question is I got to a point in the business where I was doing everything. I was doing every single role. I was being a coach. I was being a sales closer. I was being a DM setter. I was being a content creator. I was being a manager. We hired our first coach at the time, and I was busting at the seams. I actually fell out of love with the job because I hated it. I hated my life. I didn't go to the gym. I probably stopped going to the gym for about 3 to 4 months, and I started gaining weight, feeling shit in myself. I got to a point where I was like, this needs to change. And it was out of fear. I didn't know how to delegate. I didn't know how to manage. My last job before owning a business was working in a factory. I didn't know how to do anything like that. So it was fear that I wasn't going to be able to do it on my own.
And letting go of that control.
And letting go. So that was me taking on too much. And I had a conversation with myself, and I knew what I was doing was always going to be bigger than me. And if I wanted this to be bigger than me, I would have to get other people involved in the business. And that's when I had that switch of you are going to have to delegate. You're going to have to get more people involved in this mission. Yeah. And since doing that, it's grown just so much more. Yeah. And I feel just as enjoy my job so much. I wake up just so excited for the day.
Yeah. If you could go back and tell your past self, when she was taking on too much, wouldn't let go of control. Now you know what you know with the team that you have. If you could go back and tell her one thing that she would need to hear in that moment, what would you tell her?
probably wouldn't go back and tell her anything, because
Ooh, okay.
she needs to go through the hoops to learn that. I wouldn't want to, even though it's hard, I wouldn't want to change any part of it, because I know how important it is now
Yeah.
to look after myself. I know how important it is now to delegate, to train people properly, to
Yeah.
have different people doing everything. And if I didn't go through that pain, I would never know the need for it now.
Yeah, the hindsight's a beautiful thing. Yeah, 100%. What would you say is the biggest risk that you took in business, or, you know, in the journey that's completely changed things for you?
I'd say at the very beginning, it was the first £500 that I invested in my first mentor. And to put it in this in perspective, I remember I was earning like £900 a month.
Yeah.
And that's like 50%.
I remember that so bad. Wow, yeah, I remember that.
That's like 50% of what I was earning. Imagine now if you invested 50% of what you were earning into a business mentor. Like, that is a lot of money. I know £500
scale that up.
isn't, but like the actual
Relatively.
percentage
Yeah.
is. And I remember I actually just did it without telling anyone. I went on this call.
I did that.
I went on this call with this business mentor, and I was like, I was at a crossroad, and I was like, you don't know what you're doing in business. You're 19 years old. You've got like 10 clients. You don't have a clue what you're doing. You need to get help. So I was at this crossroad, and I was like, you're about to finish uni, you're about having to go in at this 9-to-5 job, or you invest money whilst you're living at home still. You don't have any commitments. Like, this is the one and only time of your life that you can do this. And I just did it. I didn't ask anyone about it. I just did it.
You followed your gut, you introduced it.
I knew that I had to do it.
Yeah.
And it was the best thing that I ever did, because getting a mentor, you have to go through some mentors to maybe find the one that suits you. But you're learning from someone who's already had like decades of experience. Like,
100%.
you can't, money can't.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I remember I was the same as you. I was like living at I was living at university, and you said you had a year to make it work. I had 3 months to make it work, and I invested everything. I was earning £80 a week. £80 a week. All my money from my christening, from all the Christmases, birthdays, I put in this massive savings pot, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go to Australia with this money. And I got to the end of university, and I was like, fuck, I need to invest. My fear was too bad to even go for it. And I was like, I need to just invest into a mindset coach. And I remember calling my dad, and I was like, Dad, I've invested in a mindset coach. He's like, yeah, we'll sit down and talk about it. I was like, I've already done it. He goes, oh, what are you going to do with money? You haven't got the money to make the next month work. And I was like, I'll just do it. I'll make it work. And it lit that fire up in me. And I think when you listen to your gut, your intuition, over the fear or over what other people say, or, you know, how you said people are like, oh, how you make that work. If you can listen to that part of you that is screaming for you to do what's next, just do it.
Mm-hmm. And I think if something feels scary,
it's right.
It's a reason to go for it, because you have so much on the line that you have to make it work. If you play safe all the time, it's going to be like, oh, well, I can not do it today, or it doesn't matter, because there's no incentive. There's no, oh shit.
No.
It's so good when you're scared, because it makes you work 100%. So much harder.
Yeah, that's like when I ran that event, I set that number at 150 or whatever, and I was like, fuck, now we've got to do it. And you just do it. Like, I always say to myself, I'm like, say yes and then make it work, because you will always make it work if you have to. If I put a gun to your head and said, right, go and make that next step work, you will do it.
It's like with anything in life. If your daughter had cancer, for example, and you had to raise £100,000 to get the treatment, like, you would get it no matter what. And it's the same in business.
You need to bring that side.
You need to bring the ultimatum.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. Obviously you went through that phase where gym, everything was out the window, whatever. What would you say now is the sort of habits you have that allow you to operate well in business, feel good, like just operate optimally?
So I would say this, everyone's probably expecting this like magical routine and strategy, but it's not. It's just the basics. I would say meal prep and going on walks. That they are my biggest.
You love meal prep.
I love meal prep. Time is your biggest asset as a business owner, and if you're spending 3 hours a day cooking and cleaning, that's just not
Hire
optimal.
a cleaner. Best decision ever I've made. I mean, if you look to my apartment now, you would think I have no cleaner, but whatever.
And just keeping on top of your own self. If you feel good, you'll perform good. If you're not, you're waking up, putting tracksuit bottoms on, not doing your makeup.
Oh my God, that's the biggest change that I made. I was like, what would your higher self be doing? I remember once I did a higher self visualization, saw my future self, and then I asked myself, I was like, right, what needs to change now for me to step into being my higher self? I was like, I need new clothes and I need to move my bedroom around. Just those two simple decisions to make me feel like my higher self, wearing better clothes. I ordered 7 pairs of trousers from ASOS, which are actually too big for me, 1 day a week.
Uniform.
Yeah, but I actually think the more that you look after yourself, the better you operate, 100%.
100%.
You feel that energy, like, oh yeah, I just love it. I love it.
In your day, if you feel like there's something that's stopping you, look at that and think how you can make that more efficient. That was my meals for me. But I wasn't going to start ordering things because another main priority of me was keep my body in good shape, feeling good.
Yeah.
So look at your day and think what is stopping you, identify them things and break it down.
All right, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
A bit of a controversial question. How important would you say your body, your shape, the health and fitness you've been on top is important for your business particularly?
Very, very important.
I fucking agree. Embody it.
If you're attractive, if you look into a room and you go into a room and there's a really hot guy, like
Big muscle, like
big muscles, good hair, good skin, smells good,
oh yeah, smells good.
you're not gonna obviously
You're not gonna look away from him, are you?
You're gonna be attracted. It's the same as if a female walked in. I'll be like, who is
It's
she? Like
magnetic, isn't it?
what is she? And you're more intrigued. Whereas if someone comes in, they've got the hair all over, they smell a little bit,
Yeah.
got odd socks on, you're not gonna be attracted to them.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I totally agree. Especially if your messaging and what you're saying online doesn't align with who you inherently are. Like there'll be a lot of people who are trying to speak to high achievers, but they're not doing what they need to do first and prioritize themselves. Yeah, 100% agree with that. What would you say the difference is between people who stay stuck, and I'm going to give my opinion on this after as well, people who stay stuck and the people who constantly level up?
I would say the biggest thing here is the people who constantly level up do things regardless of how they feel. They do things even if they're feeling self-doubt. They do things on the days even if they don't feel like doing it, and they move, they take action. I look at it like a video game, and I used to always play Mario Super Brothers when I was younger on the Wii.
Oh, I love Super Mario.
I love it.
I was Luigi.
I was the mushroom. That was mine. But you had to get through the dragon's castle to get to the next level, and you had to take action. But if you didn't, you had to stay on that same level. And you had to keep on going through that level and level. But if that's the same in life, if you're not taking action and you're not facing the challenges, I don't care if you feel uncomfortable, I don't care if you feel anxious, you have to do it, and then you'll learn the lessons. If you're scared of doing it because of X, Y, and Z, the only way that you're going to get through that is by doing it.
Yeah.
And what I always say is action cures anxiety. If you're anxious about everything, if you're anxious, oh, what if this happens? Oh, I'm so shit at this, I'm so shit at that. And you're making scenarios up in your head and constantly going over them, take action, otherwise you're going to be constantly going around
your way out of a problem.
this level. You have to get to the next level. And by getting to the next level, you need to go through the lessons.
Yeah.
And you need to learn.
I always say as well, like when you don't move past that, there's a part of you that there's something scary about that next level. Like you'll lose it all, or you won't be able to handle it, or it'll fail, or whatever. The more you don't push past it, the more this gets stronger. Yeah. If you push past it, this part of you can't come in anymore because you've gone past what it was trying to stop you from doing.
You're making it up in your head, but how are you meant to know unless you just do it? You just need to do it. Yeah, and 100%. All them will go away. And
that's like when I ran that event, like when I had that massive fear of losing, it all just came in from nowhere, and it made me not want to run the event, and I just went for it. And obviously had some breakthroughs with my mindset coach as well, but also just taking that action, running that event, after that fear of losing all gone, because I was like, wow, done what that fear part told me I couldn't do.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck you, fear.
Take action. Stop thinking, just do. Yeah, on the days that you feel fear, on the days that you feel self-doubt.
You feel so good after you take action. Like it's like eating a frog, isn't it? It's like when you just do it, it's so good. Yeah. But some people are so held back by their fear. And that's where I come in. Anyway, my next question to you is let's just talk about relationships and business, because well, firstly, you're in a relationship with the person that you also run a business with. What's the biggest challenge, lesson? Let's just start with that.
So the first thing that everyone always says to us when we say that we run a business together is I could never do that with my wife. I could never do that with my girlfriend. And we think it's the best thing that you can ever do because we know each other on such a high level, such a high level. Like, I know we could be doing something and I know what Aaron's thinking. Yeah. He knows what I'm thinking. We know each other on such a high level. And the things that we've had to combat in business, the mental barriers, we're doing it together. So, you know, if you had a relationship in separate stages, you're going through different things at different times, but we go through the same mental barriers at the same time, so we're growing at the same rate. And I think that helps so much. And sometimes it can get hard because we could literally be sitting in bed having a conversation about business. We could literally be trying to have a date night and we just talk about business, which you can cross over, but that's also a really good thing.
But
because
I love that because what else are you going to fucking talk about?
I know.
Or why the grass is green.
We get through things so quick because we're constantly in a meeting. Like, if you had a business partner that you had to go on Zoom meetings with every single time you wanted to talk, we could just make them tea and was tackling an issue.
Yeah, love that. And you got a soundboard to bounce off, haven't you? Okay. How would you say, if we're talking about like masculine, feminine energy, I would say for me, I'm a lot more in my feminine now. But I always used to think I used to be in my masculine because I was addicted to the hustle, addicted to proving, addicted to like overworking. How would you say what would you say your challenges with tapping into the feminine? Because obviously when you're in business, it's masculine, make decisions, just do it, don't care, just move, whatever. And then obviously you want to make that switch between being masculine and feminine. How have you found that, like, being honest?
Between me and Aaron?
Yeah, and just how you feel in general as well.
So I think the biggest thing with me is if you're a business owner, you're always going to be in control. You're always going to feel that masculinity if you are a business owner. So you need to find other outlets in your life where you can feel more feminine, where you can feel more free and flowy. And I think that's just the biggest thing in the rest of your life. Make sure you've got that.
Yeah, to switch to.
Yeah, to switch through. But you can be you can be a female and be masculine. You can be a male and be feminine, and it's always going to flow in between both.
Flows, yeah.
But I think to be totally transparent, with mine and Aaron's relationship at the start, I felt when he first came into the business, I felt very masculine because I was telling him everything to do because he was coming into basically my business, our business now, but he was coming into what I had. Yeah. So I was very much, you need to do this, you need to do that. Yeah. And the biggest thing that I've learned is trust people with anyone that you hire, whether it's your partner or whether it's anyone. Trust them, because
let go.
The more that you trust them, they can really sink into their role. They really
step up for it then, don't they?
Yeah, but if you're in control, you'll constantly feel like masculine. They'll be scared of doing anything.
Yeah, 100%. That's like dance for me, as where I feel feminine. That's why I felt so feminine in Dubai, dancing every night till 3 a.m. Okay, at this level, obviously you've got to the level where, you know, it doesn't, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty similar. It's like more money, cool, but whatever. What excites you at this level? Like, what is your, like, at the start, it's like, oh, first 10K a month, oh, like, first apartment. Like, this apartment was my freaking dream all through university, and now I've achieved it and whatever. But it's like, what excites you? Maybe, like, internally, despite, you know, whether you get the money or get the car or whatever.
For me, it's the longevity of it. I know that I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life, and it's doing things for me that fulfills me, and that might sound selfish, but when it fulfills me as a business owner, I'm going to make the whole business a better place for everyone to be.
Yes.
And what fulfills me the most is seeing people happy and seeing people
it's that connection, isn't it?
That connection. And I'd say last year, a year and a half ago, I wasn't as passionate about this because I was so involved in, like, building the business and getting all the systems, and I love that side of it. But for me, I love helping people. I love seeing, like, for example, one of our clients has gone from like 160 kilos, not being able to walk around the block, to now she's walking the Scarfell Pike with us, and she struggled to walk around the block last year. And just from me posting on Instagram, from me building my team, we've helped her lose like nearly 50 kilos. And
That's life
That's
changing.
mind-boggling. Like, her whole life's changed from that.
Yeah.
Her family's changed from it. And if I can have that impact on people, I just want to do that at scale. That motivates the hell out of me.
It's fulfillment, isn't it? It's internally fulfilling. Yeah, 100%.
And it's curing my inner child as well.
Yes, that's what I think. I think if you can, I genuinely think your true purpose in life is helping people based on what you've struggled with. So for me, mindset, fear of failure, eating disorder, all mindset. I don't, I have not, I'm yet to meet someone who is more passionate about mindset than I am.
No.
Like, I genuinely, like, this is why I want to be speaking to these freaking neuroscientists and psychologists, because I'm yet to find someone who, I would do this for free. Like, I'm that passionate about it.
That's it.
And that's why my no one will be me.
You've got, that's what I always say to everyone who asks me about business, how can you feel passionate about it, is just helping you 3 years ago. That's all you need to focus on throughout your content, throughout the way that you deliver, help you 3 years ago.
Yeah, I always say that. If people's like, I don't want to post, I'm like, make a post for you 6 months ago. What would you have needed to hear in that moment? Such a good one. Yeah, I love that. If you had to start over today with no audience on social media, no business, maybe no relationship, just you on your own, what would your first 3 moves be?
I'd first of all focus on a problem that needs to be solved, because a lot of people now, they see the shiny online business, they're getting on the business class flights, they're traveling whenever you want to, and they just want to make money. And you could get a quick 10k, but it's not going to do anything. You need to be solving a problem, and if possible, solving a problem that you were facing 3 years ago. So I do that. Think about the problem that you want to solve.
Yeah.
Brainstorm content that's going to solve that problem.
Yeah.
And give yourself 6 months to post every single day. Whilst doing that, give yourself a goal of getting 10 to 20 clients. And that's all you need to focus on. Don't think about how you're going to build a team. Don't think about the next steps. Don't think about what you're going to be doing in 2 years' time. Just focus on getting your first client.
So overlooked.
Then focus on the second client. Because the thing is, when we first started, we didn't have a clue on what the possibilities could be. There was nothing like this.
You don't know the how.
There was no industry, really. Like, I feel like I was one of the first ones that was doing this like 2 years ago. Yeah. But now you can see what's possible. We didn't know what was possible. So
I
we just
feel like that
took
now at the
step.
moment, because I feel like there's no one in my position that I'm like, yeah, fuck, I want to be like you. I feel like I'm creating the first mindset company that I've seen, because there are obviously other mindset companies and whatever, but there's not one model that I look at, I'm like, yes, that's what I want. And I feel like that's the biggest thing, that when we were both sitting in that cafe about 3 years ago now, or whatever it was,
you need to I've got the YouTube video on my channel, you need to put a photo.
We'll put it in here. I was doing fitness content, you was doing fitness content, we were both we were meant for more.
Shout out Katie Fit UK.
KatieFit.uk. Someone's got that name now. It's in my fucking journal. They're going to search her name and then follow her instead of me, whatever. And we're both sitting there, and there is no way. We knew, we both had this part of us that knew, and we were so desperate to just, we were talking about business, like what we can do. Like, we were helping each other, and this is what I love about our journey. But we both didn't know how we were going to do it. We just knew it was going to happen. And, and you go through this, you try this, and you try this. And like, even back at the time, 3 years ago, I was making fitness content, and I was watching what everyone else was doing, and I was trying to post for these brands and people please in my content. And it was not me. Like, it was not powerful. It was not authentic, until I made that switch to mindset, and I flew, and I was like, boom. But even then, I didn't know I was going to run an event. I didn't know I was going to hire someone or whatever. And it's the same with you. You didn't know you were going to have a big team and now be doing whatever you're going on to do, which is incredible. But it's like, I think you've got to have a focus on the vision, but then let go. Yeah. And it'll all just come to you.
Just focus on the next step.
Yeah.
That's it. So talking through our relationship as a friendship, how do you feel environment impacts your business, how you thrive, not just your immediate environment, but the people that you're talking to? And I think our friendship is a really good example of this.
I always say this to people, you are always the person that comes from my example. So I have 2 groups of friends that I can just chill, be like silly Katie with. We don't talk about business, we don't talk about goals, because we are very different in that dimension. I will not speak to those people about my goals, about what I want to earn, about the biggest thing that I want to achieve. because I feel uncomfortable. It feels like the elephant in the room. It feels uncomfortable. I would come to you and be like, Bethany, I want to do that. And it's so audacious and so big. And you're like, yeah, let's fucking do it. And it's just normal. And that's the best thing about it, because I think having that friendship and having those people who also have big goals makes the goals feel safe. And you know what's funny is like we go through, like, obviously we're very different businesses, very different models, journeys, whatever, but we always seem to go through like problems at the same time. And just being able to call you and be like, oh, I'm going through this, like maybe you've hired someone that I haven't hired yet, and I'd be like, oh, like what's your opinion on this, like how much you charge, whatever. And it's just like you get that insight from each other. And it's like when you asked me that question the other day and I just asked you that one simple question, you were like, oh, it's because of that.
Got it. Yeah. And I think it's so nice that we've been able to find each other when we did, because we
started from the bottom
together,
like, struggling. I remember we were both on social media and we were both being someone we weren't.
We were like working with brands like Able, and
I was trying to freaking like my ex's brand, like making content.
Yeah.
Like that's not me. Like I don't want to try and prove myself to a brand. The minute I stopped that, like stopped fitness content, because that wasn't inherently what I wanted to do, and just was like, you know what do I want to do and be myself, I just attracted so many people, like clients and business and whatever, because it's just been me. And I think that's our biggest thing, is that, you know, I always get people that are in my community and whatever, like say like how good your content is, because you are just yourself. Like, oh, I love her content, because you just are like you. But it is funny how we both started from there and then we both grew at like similar rates, obviously different things. But yeah, that's, I feel like now we're gonna go for another 10 years. We'll do this podcast again in like,
yeah,
I was about to say 5 years, but knowing us in a year it'll be different, so we'll do it in a year.
In a year's time, and then I think we're just on this journey together. And I think it's like you said, you have them two different types of groups of friends where you talk to, one about business, one about fun, but I feel like we can do both together. We can really.
Yeah.
So if you could see yourself in 5 years' time, who would that be? Who would that look like? Not in terms of business, but in just terms of yourself.
Who I want to, yeah. Ultra feminine, with a team doing all the sort of masculine type roles. I obviously direct, but me being like so effortless, because I am very confident and I'm quite magnetic as a person. Like when I walk into a room, I always just draw people over to me. I will be extremely magnetic, but so effortless. So like just like chill, like just chill. Like I don't need to try. Like I don't need to prove. Like that's who I see my future self. Like just having fun. Like everything's just lighthearted. It's just fun. It's effortless. It's feminine. It's just attractive. I want to be fucking hot and attractive and just effortless. Effortless is always my word. Yeah. Effortless brings in people.
And because I know a side of Katie that I feel like isn't shown as much on social media. How, just to be totally transparent with your audience, what is one mindset issue that you're struggling with right now in this moment that you want to get through?
That's a good question. I would say the recent one was the indecision about what I wanted, but I also noticed that was self-sabotage, because it stopped me moving forward, because when you're indecisive you can't move forward and then you stay safe. Secondly would probably be the internal conflict that I have between the level of people that I want to work with one-to-one and who I need to be in order to reflect them. So I always say, like, if you're a high level person, you go into a hotel, you want the nice hotel, it's high level, it's whatever, it has got to have that perception of it. So it's like having that perception of mirroring these people that I want to bring in, however also being myself at the same time, because I'm quite funny, silly, like crazy, like I've got good energy about me. But when I'm in this like you want this, like I'd say my boss side, it's like bringing this side into it and merging them, because I think online, like you do, like, you know, I'm quite feminine, to be fair, but when I'm talking about a mindset issue and I'm in that, like in the zone, I wouldn't be feminine. Like it's like that balance of like showing who I am, which I think I do to an extent, but when I'm talking about the mindset, the serious thing, it's like that authoritative side. It's like combining the two is hard,
Yeah.
because it's like I need a camera just to be put on me when I'm not thinking, and then I can show that side of me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And if you were your own client, how would you break through this with them? What would be the step-by-step thing? So if you kind of separated yourself and Katie was your client, how would you step by step get through this?
So we do this exercise that's called integrating parts. So you know how I just said you've got the authoritative boss, serious, knowledgeable, because I'm very intelligent on what I do. Like, I am quite smart, to be fair to me. But then I've also got the fun, unserious, crazy side. They're both parts of me. I cannot get rid of this part. Like, I just simply can't. You can't get rid of it. It's a part of you. You have two parts of you. So we do this exercise where you subconsciously close your eyes and you integrate both of these parts together, so you can see them acting as a whole and as one. And it's how would you show up if both of these parts were operating together and like you as one, because they're both part of you and they both bring you something that makes you happy. So this silly, fun, crazy side brings the social part of my life. It brings the fun, the energy, the feminine, the flow. And this serious, knowledgeable boss side of me brings the business, brings, it teaches people, educates people. They both help me to be happy. So how can you have both?
Yeah.
And it's like, how can I then show that in content or whatever?
Your daily habits. How can you build a life that integrates both together?
And it's like the all or nothing mindset. It's like people go all in, and then they wonder why they start scrolling, they start comparing, they start snoozing. Well, if you think about the intention behind staying in bed, snoozing, scrolling, eating food, procrastinating, it's forcing you to slow down. It's trying its best. That part of you is like, oh my God, can you just stop for a second? Can you just rest for a minute? I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to re-energize you so you can go all in again. And I would say if you can actually intentionally bring in rest, intentionally bring in play, the fun, that side of you that just energizes you, rather than letting burnout control you and you procrastinate and you sabotage, the happier you'll be, because they're both part of you and you can't get rid of that.
Yeah.
And that's why people always go all in, but they always burn out because they've lost that part of them.
And you get confused because you think, I've got everything that I want. I've got the business, I've got the productivity, I'm doing everything, but you're forgetting about
the inner child.
Inner child. Yeah.
Inner child, energy, happiness, rest. If your younger self at 8 years old was going all in all the time, they would feel terrible.
Yeah.
And it is inherently, you are your inner child, really. So if you were like, right, take that break, just take that one break and then you can go again. Like, I promise you can go again. Just take that one break. She takes that break, she re-energizes, and then she gets to go again. How is she going to feel? Happier. Because you're serving both parts of her. So it would be that integrating that.
It's so important.
Yeah, I love that. What mindset advice would you give to the audience just to finish off today?
I would say that, like what I said before, is action cures anxiety. Just take action. And if you, 9 times out of 10, if you come to a block, if you come to a bottleneck in your business, in your mindset, just take action on something, and it will force you to get out of a block. And I think if you are someone who constantly goes round circles about certain things in your head, get out of your environment, go to a coffee shop, like book a trip, get out of your shell.
Yeah,
and
move out of your head and into your body all the time.
Yeah, 100%. Just keep going. I always think that if you look at plants, if you look at animals, they're always growing. If you look at evolutionary, biologically, as creatures, we are meant to be always moving. You don't see a plant just sitting there, just not growing. You don't see an animal just sitting there on the grass. They are always moving around, and that's, as creatures, is what we're meant to be doing. And if it's in the day-to-day world now where it's business, you just need to be constantly moving. If not, you're just going to be stuck.
Yeah, 100%. I love it. My last just little point to you is, where can my audience find you if they want to follow you and access everything you have in your little brain?
So on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, coming soon. And on this podcast again, probably.
Yeah. I'll put your @ down below. Bethany Dobson, something. I mean, they'll just search Bethany Dobson and you'll be the first one. The one and only, obviously.
The one and only.
Unreal. Well, amazing. I think we'll leave it there. Yeah. Give me a high five.
Smashed it.
Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next podcast.